I've been wanting to get to Minnesota for a while now. I know why. I am thrilled to be here. And, I am here for one reason. One reason only. You all know this already because you've had one of America's great governors, Tim Pawlenty. But in states like ours, New Jersey and Minnesota, which tend at times to trend a little bit the wrong way towards the other party. I mean, heck, I thought I was in bad shape when we had John Corzine as governor, and I was, but man, I can't believe Senator Al Franken, you guys. It's bad. So now in our states, in states like this, every time a big election comes up, all of the pundits and the political analysts, they all tell you, well, Minnesota's a Democratic state, New Jersey's a Democratic state. You may have won once before, but you can't possibly do it again. So I came to Minnesota today to give you another living, breathing example of what November 3rd is going to look like when you elect Tom Emmer. Christie family is completely dedicated to making sure we elect as many Republican governors as we can. So I didn't come by myself. We've doubled down. I brought my daughter Sarah with me as well. The real reason she came, I think her mother sent me because I told her I'm working, and my wife wants to make sure, what are you really doing out there? So Sarah's going to come back and report that we were working hard to get Republicans elected all over the country. Just since yesterday morning, we've been in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan. And this morning at 8 a.m., we were at a rally in a high school with 600 people in Portland, Oregon for Christie. Minnesota. I know this one is real tight in Minnesota, and that's why I asked to come here. Because I want you all to understand something. All the people out there across America are going to be looking at Minnesota on Tuesday night. Going to be looking here. Because you're in the middle of our country, because you stand for so many of the values that we hold so dear as Americans, and because our party will know that we are really beginning to take our country back if we elect Tom Emmer in Minnesota. I know what's going to happen. You've seen what Governor Pawlenty has done here, and he's done great things, and he's stood up for principles, and the challenges are going to get even greater because of the awful things that have happened They're good people who want to be a part of the solution. You need to go to those folks. You need to look them in the eye, and you need to say to them, I've met Tom Emmer. I've met him. I've looked him in the eye. I've taken the measure of his character. I believe him. And I need you to be with me and vote for him. If you do that, I know that on November 3rd, or November 2nd, November 3rd was for me last year. On November 2nd, all of you will be able to have a huge party here in Minnesota with a new great governor. Hours because you want to do it for yourselves. Do it in the next 72 hours because you want to do it for your children. Do it in the next 72 hours because you want to do it for your grandchildren. Do it in the next 72 hours because you know in your heart it's the right thing for Minnesota and it's the right thing for America. Do it for all the right reasons. But if there are some of you out here who are not inspired in that way, then let me offer one other thing. Tuesday night, I'll be back in New Jersey, and I'll be at the governor's residence, and I'll be sitting with my family. We'll be watching the election returns, and I'm going to be paying particularly close attention to Minnesota, because it's going to be close. I'm going to be seeing what happened here. And here's the deal. You do not let me down. Republicans understand that the tradition of this country is that America offers you a hand up.